Hello, I am back here with Chapter 7 from Percy Jackson's Sea of Monsters. This chapter is titled, I Accept Gifts from a Stranger. So here we go. The way Tantalus saw it, the Stymphalian birds had simply been minding their own business in the woods and would not have attacked if Annabeth, Tyson, and I hadn't disturbed them with our bad chariot driving. That was not the reason. This was so completely unfair. I told Tantalus to go chase a donut, which didn't help his mood. What I wouldn't give for a donut right now, but I can't have donuts. He sent us to kitchen patrol, scrubbing pots and platters all afternoon in the underground kitchen with the cleaning harpies. The harpies washed with lava instead of water to get that extra clean sparkle and kill 99.9% of all germs. So Annabeth and I had to wear asbestos gloves and aprons. Tyson didn't mind, though. He plunged his bare hands right in and started scrubbing. But Annabeth and I had to suffer through hours of hot, dangerous work, especially since there were tons of extra plates. Tantalus had ordered a special luncheon banquet to celebrate Clarice's chariot victory. A full-course meal featuring country-fried Stymphalian deathbirds. Ugh. The only good thing about our punishment was that it gave Annabeth and me a common enemy and lots of time to talk. After listening to my dream about Grover again, she looked like she might be starting to believe me. If he's really found it, she murmured, and if he could retrieve it. Hold on, I said. You act like this, whatever it is Grover found, is the only thing in the world that could save the camp. What is it? I'll give you a hint. What do you get when you skin a ram? Messy, I said. She sighed. A fleece. The coat of a ram is called a fleece. And if that ram happens to have golden wool. The golden fleece? Are you serious? Annabeth scraped a plateful of deathbird bones into the lava. Percy, remember the Grey Sisters? They said they knew the location of the thing you seek. And they mentioned Jason. 3,000 years ago, they told him how to find the golden fleece. You do know the story of Jason and the Argonauts, don't you? Well, yeah, I said. That old movie with the clay skeletons? Annabeth rolled her eyes. Ugh, oh my gods, Percy, you're so hopeless. What? I demanded. Just listen. The real story of the fleece. There are these two children of Zeus, Cadmus and Europa, okay? They were about to get offered up as human sacrifices when they prayed to Zeus to save them. So Zeus sent this magical flying ram with golden wool, which picked them up in Greece and carried them all the way to Colchis in Asia Minor. Well, actually, it carried Cadmus. Europa fell off and died along the way, but that's not important. Well, it's probably important to her, I said. The point is, when Cadmus got to Colchis, he sacrificed the golden ram to the gods and hung the fleece in a tree in the middle of the kingdom. The fleece brought prosperity to the land. Animals stopped getting sick, plants grew better, farmers had bumper crops, plagues never visited. That's why Jason wanted the fleece. It can revitalize any land where it's placed, and it cures sickness, it strengthens nature, it cleans up pollution. It could cure Talia's tree, I said. Annabeth nodded. And it would totally strengthen the borders of Camp Half-Blood. But Percy, the fleece has been missing for centuries. Tons of heroes have searched for it with no luck. Well, but Grover found it, I said. He went looking for Pan and he found the fleece instead because they both radiate nature magic. It makes sense, Annabeth. We can rescue him and save the camp at the same time. I mean, it's perfect. Annabeth hesitated. A little too perfect, don't you think? I mean, what if it's a trap? I remembered last summer how Kronos had manipulated our quest. He had almost fooled us into helping him start a war that would have destroyed Western civilization. What choice do we have, I asked. Are you going to help me rescue Grover or not? She glanced at Tyson, who'd lost interest in our conversation and was happily making toy boats out of cups and spoons in the lava. Percy, she said under her breath, we'll have to fight a Cyclops. Polyphemus, the worst of the Cyclops. And there's only one place his island could be. The Sea of Monsters. Where's that? She stared at me like she thought I was playing dumb. The Sea of Monsters? The same sea Odysseus sailed through and Jason and all the others? You mean the Mediterranean? No. Well, yes, but no. Another straight answer. Let's rewind. Another straight answer. I did it again, you guys. Another straight answer. Thanks. Got through it. Look, Percy, the Sea of Monsters is the sea all heroes have to sail through on their adventures. It used to be in the Mediterranean Sea, yeah, but like everything else, it shifts location as the west center of power shifts. Like Mount Olympus being above the Empire State Building, I said, and like Hades being under Los Angeles? Right. But a whole sea full of monsters. How could you hide something like that? Wouldn't the mortals notice weird things happening? Like, ships getting eaten and stuff? Of course they notice, said Annabeth. They just don't understand. But they know something is strange about that part of the ocean. The Sea of Monsters is off the east coast of the U.S. now, just northeast of Florida. The mortals even have a name for it. The Bermuda Triangle? Exactly. I let that sink in. I guess it wasn't stranger than anything else I'd learned since coming to Camp Half-Blood. Okay, so at least we know where to look. It's still a huge area, Percy. Searching for one tiny island in monster-infested waters? Hey, I'm the son of a sea god. This is my home turf. How hard could it be? Annabeth knit her eyebrows. We'll have to talk to Tantalus. Get approval for a quest. He's gonna say no. Not if we tell him tonight at the campfire, in front of everybody. The whole camp will hear. They'll pressure him. He won't be able to refuse. Maybe. A little bit of hope crept into Annabeth's voice. We'd better get these dishes done. Hand me the lava spray gun, will you? Well, that night at the campfire, Apollo's cabin led the sing-along. They tried to get everybody's spirits up, but it wasn't easy after that afternoon's bird attack. We all sat around a semicircle of stone steps, singing half-heartedly and watching the bonfire blaze while the Apollo guys strummed their guitars and picked their lyres. We did all the standard camp numbers. Down by the Aegean, I am my own great-great-great-great-great-great-grandpa. This land is Minos' land. The bonfire was enchanted, so the louder you sang, the higher it rose, changing color and heat with the mood of the crowd. On a good night, I'd seen it 20 feet high, bright purple and so hot the whole front row's marshmallows burst into flames. Tonight, the fire was only 5 feet high, barely warm, and the flames were the color of lint. Dionysus left early. After suffering through a few songs, he muttered something about how even Pinochle with Chiron had been more exciting than this. Then he gave Tantalus a distasteful look and headed back toward the big house. What's your best distasteful look? I don't know. I wonder what Dionysus's distasteful look was. I feel he's usually distasted about a lot of things. When the last song was over, Tantalus said, "Well, that was lovely." He came forward with a toasted marshmallow on a stick and tried to pluck it off, real casual-like. But before he could touch it, the marshmallow flew off the stick. Tantalus made a wild grab, but the marshmallow committed suicide, diving right into the flames. Tantalus turned back toward us, smiling coldly. Now then, some announcements about tomorrow's schedule. Sir, I said. Tantalus's eye twitched. Our kitchen boy has something to say. Some of the Ares campers snickered, but I wasn't going to let anybody embarrass me into silence. I stood up and I looked at Annabeth. Thank the gods she stood up with me. I said, we have an idea to save the camp. Dead silence, but I could tell I'd gotten everybody's interest now, because the campfire flared bright yellow. Indeed, Tantalus said blandly. Well, if it has anything to do with the chariots. The golden fleece, I said. We know where it is. The flames burned orange now. Before Tantalus... We're good. Before Tantalus could stop me, I blurted out my dream about Grover and Polyphemus's island. Annabeth stepped in and reminded everybody what the fleece could do. It sounded more convincing coming from her. The fleece can save the camp, she concluded. I'm certain of it. Nonsense, said Tantalus. We don't need saving. Everybody stared at him until Tantalus started looking uncomfortable. Besides, he added quickly, the Sea of Monsters, that's hardly an exact location. You wouldn't even know where to look. Yes, I would, I said. Annabeth leaned toward me and whispered, You would? I nodded, because Annabeth had jogged something in my memory when she reminded me about our taxi drive with the Grey Sisters. At the time, the information they gave me made no sense, but now... 30, 31, 75, 12, I said. Okay, Tantalus said. Thank you for sharing those meaningless numbers. They're sailing coordinates, I said. Latitude and longitude. I learned it in social studies. Social studies. Even Annabeth looked impressed. 30 degrees, 31 minutes north. 75 degrees, 12 minutes west. He's right. The Grey Sisters gave us those coordinates. That would be somewhere in the Atlantic, off the coast of Florida, the Sea of Monsters. We need a quest. Wait a minute, Tantalus said. Wait just a minute. But the campers took up a chant. We need a quest. We need a quest. The flames rose higher. It isn't necessary, Tantalus insisted. We need a quest. We need a quest. Fine, Tantalus shouted, his eyes blazing with anger. You brats want me to assign a quest? Yes. Very well, he agreed. I shall authorize a champion to undertake this perilous journey to retrieve the Golden Fleece and bring it back to camp or die trying. My heart filled with excitement. I wasn't going to let Tantalus scare me. This is what I needed to do. I was going to save Grover in the camp. Nothing would stop me. I will allow our champion to consult the oracle, Tantalus announced, and choose 2 companions for the journey. And I think the choice of champion is obvious. Tantalus looked at Annabeth and me as if he wanted to flay us alive. The champion should be one who has earned the camp's respect, who has proven resourceful in the chariot races and courageous in the defense of the camp. You shall lead this quest, Clarice. You guys, this would be a gasp moment if we were in class. Clarice? I mean, she's not even friends with Grover. What? Excuse us? The fire flickered 1,000 different colors, and the Ares cabin started stomping and cheering. Clarice! 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 The fire flickered 1,000... I already read that. Going on. Clarice stood up, looking stunned, and then she swallowed, and her chest swelled with pride. I accept the quest, she said. Wait, I shouted. Grover's my friend. The dream came to me. Sit down, yelled one of the Ares campers. You had your chance last summer. Yeah, he just wants to be in the spotlight again, another said. Clarice glared at me. I accept the quest, she repeated. I, Clarice, daughter of Ares, will save the camp. The Ares campers cheered even louder. Annabeth protested, and the other Athena campers joined in. Everybody else started taking sides, shouting and arguing and throwing marshmallows. I thought I was going to turn into a full-fledged s'more war until Tantalus shouted, Silence, you brats! His tone stunned even me. Sit down, he ordered. And I will tell you a ghost story. I didn't know what he was up to, but we all moved reluctantly back to our seats. The evil aura radiating from Tantalus was as strong as any monster I'd ever faced. Once upon a time, there was a mortal king who was beloved by the gods. Tantalus put his hand on his chest, and I got the feeling he was talking about himself. This king, he said, was even allowed to feast on Mount Olympus. But when he tried to take some ambrosia nectar back to Earth to figure out the recipe, just one little doggy bag, mind you, the gods punished him. They banned him from their halls forever. His own people mocked him. His children scolded him. And oh, yes, campers, he had horrible children, just like you. You guys aren't horrible. You're really awesome, and I love you. He pointed a crooked finger at several people in the audience, including me. Do you know what he did to his ungrateful children? Tantalus asked softly. Do you know how he paid back the gods for their cruel punishment? He invited the Olympians to a feast at his palace just to show there were no hard feelings. No one noticed that his children were missing. And when he served the gods dinner, my dear campers, can you guess what was in the stew? He did not. He did. No one dared answer. The firelight glowed dark blue, reflecting evilly on Tantalus's crooked face. Oh, the gods punished him in the afterlife, Tantalus croaked. They did indeed, but he'd had his moment of satisfaction, hadn't he? His children never again spoke back to him or questioned his authority, and do you know what? Rumor has it that the king's spirit now dwells at this very camp. waiting for a chance to take revenge on ungrateful, rebellious children. And so, are there any more complaints before we send Clarice off on her quest? There was silence. Tantalus nodded at Clarice. The oracle, my dear, go on. She shifted uncomfortably, like even she didn't want glory at the price of being Tantalus's pet. Go, he snarled. She bowed awkwardly and hurried off to the big house. What about you, Percy Jackson? Tantalus asked. No comments from our dishwasher? I didn't say anything. I wasn't going to give him the satisfaction of punishing me again. Good, Tantalus said. Let me remind everyone. No one leaves this camp without my permission. Anyone who tries, well, they survive the attempt. They will be expelled forever, but it won't come to that. The Harpies will be enforcing curfew from now on, and they are always hungry. Good night, my dear campers. Sleep well. Well, with a wave of Tantalus's hand, the fire was extinguished and the campers trailed off toward their cabins in the dark. I couldn't explain things to Tyson. He knew I was sad. He knew I wanted to go on a trip and Tantalus wouldn't let me. You will go anyway? He asked. I don't know, I admitted. It would be hard. It would be very hard. I'll help. No, I couldn't ask you to do that, big guy. It's just too dangerous. Tyson looked down at the pieces of metal he was assembling in his lap. Springs and gears and tiny wires. Beckendorf had given him some tools and spare parts, and, well, now Tyson spent every night tinkering, though I wasn't sure how his huge hands could handle such delicate little pieces. What are you building? I asked. Tyson didn't answer. Instead, he made a whimpering sound in the back of his throat. Annabeth doesn't like Cyclops. You don't want me along? Oh, no, that's not it, I said half-heartedly. Annabeth likes you, really. He had tears in the corners of his eye. I remembered that Grover, like all satyrs, could read human emotions. I wondered if Cyclops had the same ability. Tyson folded up his tinkering project in an oilcloth. He lay down on his bunk bed and hugged his bundle like a teddy bear. When he turned toward the wall, I could see his weird scars on his back, like somebody had plowed over him with a tractor. I wondered for the millionth time how he'd gotten hurt. Daddy always cared for me, he sniffled, and now I think he was mean to have a Cyclops boy. I should not have been born.